Today I'm sharpening knives at Liberty Food and Wine Exchange in Reno, Nevada. I'm sharpening in the loading dock, and I'm using one of the trolley carts to store all my equipment on since it's elevated, and I forgot all my tables, so that's why I'm using their stuff today. Lighting is very important, so always find an outlet or have a generator with you for when you sharpen. I'm going to do something a little different in this video. I'm not going to make any edits unless it's a scene change. I'm going to show you my whole process from start to finish of how I sharpen each of the knives I'm sharpening for the butcher. This is the second time I'm sharpening for them, so the angles are going to be the same, and they're at 17 degrees, and I'm starting with 120 grit Cubitron Belt. And it's been about 5 months since the butcher has called me back, so these knives definitely need some TLC. So this one is a Filet knife, and I'm alternating passes. I'm not creating a burr on one side. I'm alternating passes so the burr is minimized, and that'll be easier to remove for the final stropping step. So having light is very important. I'm checking after each pass if I created a burr, and once I do, I just make sure I even out the pass on the other side. I left this scene in because I just got my new t-shirt and I wanted to show it off for this video. I know, I'm pretty corny. I just wanted a shameless plug to show how cool my t-shirt is. The three main knives I'm going to be sharpening is this large curved butcher knife, a Filet knife, and a Serrated knife. There's some others that I just didn't record sharpening, but it's the same process for everything. You can see me trying to balance the knife out. I want that as even on my angle guide as possible. So every knife starts with 120 grit Cubitron Belt. That apexes the knife very quickly for me, and I'm checking again after each pass to make sure I have a burr formed. One thing that I've learned while sharpening so many knives is that there's so many ways to sharpen any knife. So the way I'm sharpening this serrated bread knife, I'm gently kissing the back edge of the knife with my 600 grit Trizact belt, edge trailing actually, to bring up a burr. The reason why I'm sharpening it this way, the scallops are still fine, so I don't need to use a diamond wheel to cut in new serrations. So this process, going edge trailing, is going to bring up a slight burr on the front edge of the knife, and then once I have a burr, I'm going to use my yellow felt belt to weaken the burr and then ultimately remove the burr, and it'll be razor sharp. With the felt belt, I'm using a 3 micron diamond spray as the abrasive, and you'll see, going edge trailing, how I have the burr flipped over to the opposite side. And I'm going to do this until the burr weakens and falls off. So going back and forth a few passes to weaken the burr, and then it'll pop off, and then I'll show you how sharp the knife is. Now that we're done with the serrated knife, we're back to the Filet knife. This belt is a 600 grit Trizact belt, and I'm only doing equal passes back and forth, and this is to minimize the burr and refine the scratch pattern. Once I'm done with the Filet knife, I'm back to the butcher's knife, and again, equal passes back and forth, again, just to minimize the burr and refine the scratch pattern. And this is a 600 grit as well. And then I'll show you the very next step. The final sharpening belt is 1200 Grit Trizact. The butcher really loves the refined edge that this belt puts on it. So again, equal passes back and forth. You can see I'm rocking the blade back and forth on the angle guide. The purpose of that is I want to make sure the knife is as flat as possible before I drag it onto the belt. Final step again with the Filet knife, 1200 Grit Trizact, and just equal passes back and forth. And the final step is to remove the burr. So I'm going edge trailing with my leather strop, and I'm just going equal passes back and forth until the burr is fully removed. Not every knife is going to have the same amount of strokes to remove the burr. Some knives that have different steels might require more passes on the strop. Some burrs may be a little sticky, so just remember very light strokes back and forth until the burr is fully removed. All the knives cut paper. Let's see how well it cuts for the butcher. Part of this is muted because there's a podcast in the background, but when the butcher talks, I'll unmute it.
Oh, I like butter.
It doesn't work anymore. So this is one of the reasons why this is the best.
So it wasn't cutting like that before?
No, hell no.
Health.
No, and they lasted a while when you came last year, you know what I mean?
What is health?
For any knife sharpener, this is instant gratification for having dull knives and sharpening them, and then having the butcher love the freshly sharpened knives.
Like, this is really fucking good.
Spend more money.
I think it'll be able to show in the video too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. This is Vinny, the Knife Guy.